back to Googie's Kitchen, and if you are new here then hello and welcome. My name's Alexis and I post 2 videos a week on a Tuesday and a Thursday at 7 AM. So if you love recipe videos like this one and you want to see more, then please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And now I'm going to share with you my delicious beef and butternut squash shepherd's pie. As I just mentioned, today I want to share with you how to make my delicious beef and butternut squash shepherd's pie with white potato or sweet potato. So this recipe is really easy to do, but there is a dispute in our house. I have to be honest, I have to let you know that some of us like white potato mash and some of us like sweet potato mash. So with this dish I have decided to do half and half. So I'm going to make half sweet potato and half white potato. You could have all white potato if you wanted to, or you could have all sweet potato. The decision is yours. It's entirely up to you, but I like sweet potato and my husband and son love white potato. So I thought that I would just make a half and half shepherd's pie, and I'm going to be making this with a butternut squash today as well. Butternut squash instead of tomato. So I'm going to bake the butternut squash and the potatoes, and I'll show you how to make the rest as well. So here is how to make my delicious beef and butternut squash shepherd's pie. Firstly, I'm going to preheat my oven to 200 degrees. To start the process, I'm going to be cooking my potatoes. So I've got about 500 to 600 grams of white potato. That's for my husband and son. And I've got about 600 grams of sweet potato here, and all I'm going to do is just pierce the potatoes and pop them into the baking tray so that I can put these into the oven, and I'm going to bake these for about 50 minutes or so, and then once they're baked I'll take them out and leave them to cool. But I'm going to then remove the skins and just mash them like that. I could put them in a pot, in a pan, and boil them that way, but I just like doing it this way. I find it easier than actually having to peel them and put them in a pot and boil them, and it's less washing up this way as well. So yes, I'm off to put these into the oven now for about 50 minutes to an hour. While the potatoes are in the oven, I have been busy peeling and chopping one butternut squash. So I've got about 500 grams of butternut squash, about 300 to 500 grams, and I have just simply peeled that with a potato vegetable peeler, and then I have sliced it up. I use the top of a really large butternut squash. So obviously if you're using a whole butternut squash, like a small one, you will need to remove the seeds as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the butternut squash into my baking tray, and I am going to drizzle over some olive oil onto that as well. And then I'm going to also put a pinch of salt in as well. So a pinch or two of salt, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to toss all of the vegetables in the oil, and I'm going to put this into the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes now. So the butternut squash has cooked. Because it's been on the bottom underneath the jacket potatoes, it hasn't gone golden brown, but it is lovely and soft. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of the oven and leave it to cool. The jacket potatoes are cooked now, so I'm going to set these aside, and I'm going to go and make my sauce for the shepherd's pie now. The butternut squash has cooled, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the butternut squash pieces into, whoa, if I don't splash all the oil over me, into the blender like so. And then I'm going to add some bone broth to that. So I'm going to add about 500 mils of bone broth, and I'm going to blend these together, and this is what's going to act as my sauce for, or the tomato part of the shepherd's pie. So I'm just going to add the bone broth now. I'm going to put the lid on, and as I said, I'm going to blend these together now. I've blended blended the sauce until it is smooth, like so. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook the filling for the shepherd's pie using this sauce. I'm now going to cook the filling, so I've put a large pan and I'm going to put that onto a high heat, and I'm going to add some oil to the base of the pan. If I can find my oil, there it is. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the base of the pan, and I'm going to let this heat up now. My pan is getting nice and hot now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one red onion that I've peeled, sliced and diced, and I'm just going to pop that into the bottom of the saucepan. As you can see, some of the bits are bigger than others. It doesn't really matter too much. You can roughly chop the onion, that's fine. And I'm just going to fry the onion now until this starts to soften. The onion has started to soften and become clear and see-through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my red pepper to this. So I sliced the top from a red pepper and I moved the core and the stalk, and then I just sliced and diced the flesh into little pieces. But again, it doesn't really matter. It all goes down the same way, so you are roughly chopping it's fine. So I'm just going to pop that into my saucepan as well, and I'm going to fry this for a few minutes now until it starts to heat through. The pepper has warmed through nicely now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one courgette that I've peeled and grated and one carrot that I've peeled and grated. In the original recipe I think I said to use two, but these were quite large, so I decided to use only one. And the reason I'm grating them is, as I say in most of my videos, my husband and son aren't too keen on vegetables, or more my son actually. So I like to grate them so he doesn't know it's in there, and he also can't pick it out as well. So it's mummy being a bit evil, to be honest with you. So yes, I'm just going to add these to the base of the pan now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fry these until these start to soften. So it will take a little while, but you will start to see them soften probably in about 3 to 5 minutes, I'd say. Also, when you're cooking these vegetables like this, it does make them easier to fry as well, rather than large chunky bits. Having smaller pieces actually is easier to fry. I find that anyway. I don't know about anybody else, but I just find it easier to fry just grated vegetable rather than chunky pieces. So I've fried these until the carrots and the courgettes have started to soften. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my minced beef. I think it's minced beef that goes in a shepherd's pie, or is it? Oh, I think it might be cottage pie, but anyway, I'm adding minced beef. You can add minced lamb if you want to. If you want to make it a really traditional dish, then please add minced lamb, but I'm adding minced beef. We're not great lamb fans in this house, so we much prefer beef. So we're going to have beef with this dinner tonight, and I'm going to fry this beef now until it starts to go golden brown in the pan. The minced beef is golden brown. It didn't take long to cook, I have to say, but it's a beautiful golden brown colour now. I'm just going to turn down the heat a little bit as well. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to sprinkle over some dried mixed herbs. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of dried mixed herbs, and I'm just going to mix those in to the minced beef, to the filling of the pie. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my sauce to this now. So the beef and butternut squash sauce that I made earlier, I'm just going to add that in as well. And I'm going to bring this to the boil and then leave it to simmer for a little while. But I'm also going to add some salt and pepper as well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper, if I can undo the lid. Can I undo the lid? Yep, done it. Woo. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. I added a little bit too much pepper, so I had to take some out. But I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this as well. salt and pepper to your taste, and I'm also going to add some tamari to this as well. Tamari is soya sauce that's gluten-free, but tamari has been fermented for longer than soya sauce has, so it's slightly better for the body and it acts like a probiotic as well. It's not particularly like a brilliant probiotic. You'd have to probably drink a lot of it for it to have an effect, but it still acts like a slight probiotic, so it's definitely good for you. But if you want to use soya sauce, then please do. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this to simmer on the hob while I go and mash the potatoes. To make the mashed potato, I have peeled the flesh from the skins of the potatoes, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to mash the ingredients together. I added a bit of milk to both bowls, and I added a little bit of butter as well. And as I said, I'm just going to mash these together now. And then I'm going to grab my sauce or my filling for the pie, and I'm going to remove the potato skins from that pot, and I'm going to put it all together. Now there is quite a lot of sauce with the filling, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a slotted spoon and see if I can get some gravy from the bottom. So I'm just using the slotted spoon. So basically a slotted spoon is a spoon with holes in, and I'm just going to drain off some of the gravy as it comes out, and then hopefully that sauce will make a really nice gravy for the shepherd's pie later on. So I'm just going to add those to the, just going to add the sauce to the bottom of the dish like so. I'm just using the same dish I had used when I cook the potatoes, but you can, if you want to, use a separate dish like a pie dish if you've got one. This is a Pampered Chef stoneware. I talk about my stoneware a lot in my videos, and stoneware basically keeps the goodness from the food and takes away the badness through the stoneware, so it's a really healthy way to cook meals. There is a little bit of gravy in the bottom there, so I'm going to leave that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the sweet potato mash to one side of the pie, and then I shall add the white potato mash to the other side. And hopefully this will make a delicious dinner that my little family are going to enjoy. So yes, I'm going to try and cover one side of the pie like so with all of the potato. Oh, I just dropped some. Sacrilege. Right, so I've covered one side. I'm just going to go and grab another spoon and I'll cover the other. So I've got myself another spoon, and I think I might have done a bit too much potato for the other side. So I might hold some of this back and have some of this white potato for my lunch today. I'm sure my husband and son won't mind. It is nearly lunchtime and this is for our dinner, so yes, I think I'm going to do that. So I have covered the other side with the mashed potato as well, like so. Oh, it looks and smells so good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside now, and I shall put the oven on a bit later when it's time for dinner, and I shall cook this off later on. But I shall be putting this into the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. It's almost dinner time, so again I'm going to preheat the oven to 200 degrees. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put the shepherd's pie into the oven now for about 25 to 30 minutes, or until the top goes golden brown. So the top of the shepherd's pie is a lovely golden brown colour, and it's all bubbling around the edges. So I'm going to take this out of the oven and I'm going to cook off some green beans to go with my dinner, and then I'm going to serve up, and that will be dinner done It smells so good, I can't wait. And it took no time at all in the evening, so that's simples in my book. That's how you make my delicious beef and butternut squash shepherd's pie, and that recipe I will link in the description box below for you. As I mentioned earlier, I'm off to have this for my dinner now, and it smells so good, I can't wait. So for now, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please feel free to leave any comments below. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you all soon. Bye.